Hello, if this is your first time on my YouTube channel, welcome. I post about overlooked matters and I put my own personal spin to it. And the last video which I did, Honkai Star Rail, and why it made me think of SpongeBob SquarePants became quite something I'm really proud of based on the responses I get. So I'm compelled to do another Honkai Star Rail video. And today I'm gonna talk about a cool idea that gamers, like the people in charge of making the game of Honkai Star Rail, can take this into consideration. Imagine if scientists around the world can talk about global warming or anything and write one fact or one anecdote or one research and cite them properly and put them into their own writings into a letter, literally a letter, in the game, and put them into a room in Honkai Star Rail. So the player look at those letters and learn about the world. But it doesn't stop there. By doing that, the player can look at the piece of paper or letter and flip it to the other side and talk something about the game itself. Like maybe strategies or personal insights gained by playing Genshin Impact and or Honkai Star Rail and the spin-off, like Honkai Star Rail 3rd, etc. And then write it down and send it to, for example, Genshin Impact. Once they send it to Genshin Impact, it will be hidden like Easter eggs in the land. It could be behind a pillar or it could be under the desk. And then players can look at it. Hey, it's an advice from another player, a suggestion how to do better in the game. So what does this do? It makes the game more like a teaching experience. Like it could make parents feel less reluctant to let kids play games in general. Like it could be adults playing games, but you know the saying, like you can't leave people to their own devices. I feel like that's a bad name to it, and I want to reverse the negative stereotype attached to it. Like it's easy to imagine, like even though it's a real problem, it's easy to imagine people play games too much late into the night. It's a real problem because some people do that. But I'm not saying anyone. I don't know anyone who does that. Well, maybe a few, but not anyone like immediate comes to my mind. Like I feel like it is a real issue where people play too many games. That's not good for health. You can't sleep well, etc. But if you can time management, like if you can manage yourself well in life and not play too much games, that's cool. I'm not against Genshin Impact, even though it could be really addictive, or against Honkai Star Rail, which could be very addictive too. And I'm not saying like people by default are like that. I'm trying to have my own personal spin in the topic and say we could use the game to bring it to make it different so that people can be more incentivized to play the game, but at the same time, whenever they log out, they learned something about the world. So it becomes educational. So like a scientist can also talk about why sleep is important, and email their thoughts to miHoyo, who can implement it into the game. Hey, players look at the card or the letter in Honkai Star Rail and say, oh, sleep is very important. Hey, this is like a subliminal or sort of a teaching moment. Hey, reminder that you, as a player, don't play into 3 a.m. And then what does this do? It makes parents say, hey, maybe the games can potentially be so educational. And so the negative stereotype, which I'm tired of about games, is that not all games are doomed to make you go too addicted to it and you forget everything else. That is still a possibility, though. I'm not saying it's case by case scenario. Anyone can fall into a cycle of so addicted to games and they forget other aspects of their lives. And that's not something parents would like. That's not something, not just parents, that's not something you would want for your good friends. You want them to have fun, play games like, play with you in Genshin Impact or explore Honkai Star Rail as you recommended to them. But then at the same time, they can understand not to play too much of the game. It's not the letters themselves that make you it's not that the letters can prevent people to stop playing games. No. It's more like an exposure to new information about the world that makes the world more interesting, and then it attracts them to don't play too many. It will inspire people to learn more about the world, basically. After finish playing game, hey, I learned something new about the world based on what the scientists written in those letters. And then at the same time, they could flip the letter and then the players can write down what they want for the game improvements, maybe, or suggestions, ideas, advices, etc. to other players. They just need to fax it inside the game. Fax it from Honkai Star Rail to Genshin Impact, and then have them hidden somewhere. And then players can, oh, I found it. Look at it. Hey, it's an advice how to play the game better. But it's also something about the world, something important about the world. So I guess this video is an inspiration for me to tackle the issue of game having a negative stereotype, that it could be so addictive and people can play so much and they forget the world, basically. But it's a reminder what the world is. A detailed description, research, or anecdote by scientists who have passion about solving world issues like poverty or anything, disease, or just about anything, or even the psychological effect of bullying, or anything that can help inform about real issues about the world. And I'm not insinuating, in case some people may come to that conclusion naturally. Even I did. I'm being self-conscious. I even thought, hey, maybe I'm actually insinuating that gamers do not know about world problems. No, that's not true. Of course not. I'm suggesting a powerful new way, a system that Genshin Impact, miHoyo could actually implement into their games to make them more educational, make players more inclined to live and breathe, and a little exaggeration there, but to understand about the world. But at the same time, they can add the incentive to play the games even more. And I'm so proud of this idea. And I hope miHoyo can implement that idea. And this could actually make the game quite interesting. It can open up to more can of worms in a good way, though. It can actually make other content creators can also write their suggestions how to play better in the games. But also, it could be anyone who's not a content creator. They could write how to play games well, etc. It could be anyone. But it can also heighten the popularity of this content creators as well too. So, and then it can build a bridge between the community of gamers and community of scientists. They can come together and learn more about the world from each other, and also make the game more interesting, more fun, and it could actually build a rapport between gamers and also between content creators. And it's a learning environment, basically. People will be more inspired to play the game by going to Honkai Star Rail, opening that letter, and then read, hey, cool guidelines or suggestions. Hey, how to not deplete my resources. How come reach a certain number of characters in Honkai Star Rail that kind of shakes things up, those kind of things. And then on the other side is written notes by scientists. And then why not? We could ask them to put footnotes and and like the sources of their information, the title of their experiments, to have conclusion, whatever their research may be. So then miHoyo would be creating a world of game, but miHoyo would also be creating like an educational game, basically. And so that gamers can be inspired to spend more time outside the game, but increase their motivation to play the game. Thank you for listening, and Godspeed, and see you in the next one. Thank you.